Welcome to That American Football Show, powered by EP Sports. EP Sports is the top supplier in the UK for all your American football needs, helping players and coaches reach their potential since 2007. Check them out at epsports.co.uk. And so we're back. You guys told us that you like our power rankings. Obviously, there's not too many people covering it right now, so we've got the benefit of being some of the most well-informed people. But yeah, so Joe and I are back, update you with the happenings of the ELF and our insights. Big shout out to Tim, who was at the Barcelona Centurions game, which looked to be game of the season so far. Picked a good one. I mean, he showed us the videos of the tailgate and all the wine and beer he was drinking. It looked like an absolute party over there.
Yeah, it looked really good. I'm jealous. I mean, that's the first time that someone from TAFS has gone to an ELF game. We've been covering this for over a year now. So it's nice last year was obviously very difficult. This year, Tim has managed to get himself out there. But yeah, what a game to pick. It was when you got it at the beginning of the season, we knew that this game last year was good, but teams have changed. We thought, I don't know how it's going to go this season. Like, where are these two teams going to be? And yeah, what a game to pick. And
it's such a good game.
Such a good game. And it just panned out exactly how it, when you have those games where you think, this is going to be amazing, it's going to be top notch. And then sometimes it can just fall flat. But that definitely did not happen with the Centurions Dragons game.
I'll tell you what, with the ELF, most games that have got a big expectation usually live up to it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like the championship game last year as well was one of those, which was
brilliant. The kickoff game was great as well.
Yeah,
it's all been done. Games have all been really good. And speaking of big crowds, all of them look good. Every single week, it looks like a more positive things are happening because the crowds feel bigger. It's really annoying because every game I watch, the camera shows the sunny side, which is always dead.
Yeah,
but the crowd's always behind the cameras because we saw Tim's videos and everything, and occasionally it would pan to them and everyone's bouncing. But the camera work does make it look a lot more dead. But if you saw that Fire game,
yes,
holy moly! Shout out to all. I think it broke the record for ELF attendance, which was set by I think it was the Fire Galaxy game in week 1.
I think
Fire broke it again against the Rams of all teams.
Yeah,
and it was bouncing in there.
Exactly, and it's against the Rams. No disrespect to the Rams, but they're a Turkish team. When it comes to sort of brand and being well known across Europe, they probably are the least well known team in this competition in mainland Europe. So if we're getting records broken for that, yes, it was the first Fire game, but when the Galaxy come later on in the season, you expect those games to smash the record out the park. I think it was just under 8,000. I believe
7.8, 7.9 or something. If the attendance keeps going, that's a great baseline to have for fans. There's a big atmosphere.
Exactly that. Yeah, and that's what happens when you bring a big franchise like the Fire back into the game.
I'm pretty sure there's been a heat wave across the entirety of Europe.
Yes.
There was some hot looking games.
Yeah, especially like the Barcelona one as well. You saw Zach, a boy from Minnesota who doesn't see the sun too much. And he was just getting, he was stuck in the heat.
I'm not jealous of the Raiders having to wear black.
Yeah, that was tough. And it was really hot as well.
Thunder snuck away with a white away kit.
That's how you put. Yeah, especially that's the thing. The Thunder kits are so nice, but when you've got to play in the white when it's that hot.
But before we get into anything, Joe, what stood out to you this week most of all?
What stood out most to me this week is that I don't think that the first 2 weeks are something to live and die by. I think a lot of teams are starting to improve. We shouldn't write off every single team. I think there's a couple that we can say are going to have a losing record this year, but a lot of teams are still answering these questions week by week by week. For example, the Frankfurt Galaxy seem to, I know they played a weakened Panthers team, but they seem to be answering a few things. The Rhein Fire, there was some question marks about just how good they were, and I think they're starting to show, hold on, these guys are a top contender. The Cologne Centurions, we didn't know, are these guys just an offense, just pure offense? Do they have what it takes to compete against the big boys. They showed this weekend that they do have that. So we're starting to learn a lot more about these teams, and that's the thing for me is, even though we had a few sort of like heavy defeats and heavy wins this week, I still feel the league is extremely competitive.
Yeah, the top feels crowded.
Yes,
which is a fun way of looking at it, because like I think you and me maybe both have like, whether it's a fan like just our home favorites or a clear like personal favorite, but I can't put any team above another that is like a clear front runner.
Yes, for sure. For me, I've got 3 or 4 teams that I think.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, I know. I think we're the same.
Yeah,
team.
I think we'll find out when we go to the power rankings.
Yeah,
but that middle ground is interesting. It's really hard to put where everyone is, because everyone's kind of beating each other.
Yeah,
but there's still some teams that I think have so much potential that they haven't shown yet, or they haven't got the results for the actual and the results and the performances of what they've got on paper.
I think our power rankings are going to be more accurate this time, but they're also going to make less sense just because they don't look right on a list.
Yes, exactly that. I think that's what it's going to go like.
And so, bit of news. This is all old news that we didn't get to speak about last week because we record this so early. But ELF baller Carlos Browns joins the Galaxy. I mean, they got a win this week. We'll talk about that more because, as you said, the Panthers were understaffed, which leads to the next bit of news. They were deemed out this week, unsure about next week, with Justice Hansen and William Lloyd, who's essentially the defensive captain as well. So the Panthers are without their offensive and defensive leaders. So that is why their result was so askew. But I'm not sure if they're going to be back. I know you mentioned Gauthier for the Galaxy is unclear.
Yeah, Gauthier, there's rumours going around that he's out for the season with a knee injury, which obviously would be devastating for him and the Galaxy. That is unconfirmed, as I say, at the time being. That is just rumours, but yeah, it'd be sad if that does become true. And it does seem to be the Galaxy that are getting hit by all these things. However, when you are a team like the Galaxy and you're the reigning champs, you do have a lot of pulling power, being able to get players in from elsewhere.
It feels very much like the Ravens in the NFL. Like they've been a top team for 2-3 years, then they were just ruined by injuries.
Yeah, exactly that. That's sometimes it's just the injury bug, isn't it? You just have this bad luck.
Got to deal with it. And I mean, Coach K is great. I have no doubt he's going to keep the team steady on.
For sure. And, you are going to get these challenges when you play at a high level of sport. Injuries do happen, sadly. And some people, it depends how you react. That's how do you go, excuse. You could use it as excuse and just not try and go, look, we're missing all our best players. Or you go, look, this is a crap situation, but we're going to make the best out of this. We're going to give 100%. And I think that's this week the Galaxy showed that that's their mentality.
I mean, and they're getting Carlos Browns, who was like the 3rd overall pick, or 1st or 3rd.
Yeah,
overall.
He was top 5 for sure. I can't remember the exact number.
I mean, if you haven't seen the episode, it was last season. I do recommend you can listen because he's a really interesting guy, big Latvian, like JJ Watt kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to make a huge impact because, like, obviously, was it the Galaxy who lost Bombeck? Was that that was Hamburg, wasn't it?
That was Hamburg. Yeah, they lost them.
So the Galaxy defense was very intimidating last year. It's maybe taken a bit of a notch back, but adding Carlos, that's going to be pretty epic.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, and I don't think there's any other breaking news this week so far.
No, nothing too major as of yet. I just think I think I won my prediction game. I'm in the Reddit. I'm in that prediction league. I think I won that.
Oh, you in that?
Yeah. I think I'd gone 0, 1 and 1. So I think I'm ones all across the board. Triple Nelson for me. So I'll take it. But not that anyone cares apart from me.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that thing on Reddit as well. The Reddit, if you use Reddit and you like PLF, don't use it too. The subreddit's probably the most active place that people talk about the ELF, so it is a good place to be on. Like me and Joe participate in it. Tim's on there. and all the videos go on there as well. But I mean, let's just get into the games. So Saturday kickoff. What was it, 4 o'clock or something? It's a bit of a shame they had these scheduled together because it was two games I think we both wanted to watch. You started with you did the whole Barcelona Cologne. I started with Hamburg Kings and then moved over due to streaming difficulties. But I mean, two completely different games. Barcelona squeezed past Cologne 34-32. Just an unbelievable offensive game. And then the reverse, Hamburg beat the Kings 14-0. It was 0-0 in the half. The Hamburg only just squeezed on 2 extra touchdowns in the second half, and it was pretty much a lot of it on Glenn Tunga.
Yeah.
But both offenses, they occasionally have a big play. Like Gene Constant had a really good catch. The Kings offense was getting going, but just each team was forcing so many sacks and so many turnovers that no team could really just get to the red zone. And it was, I mean, I like a defensive game. Tim said it sounded boring, but like I love those games where it's just two defenses not letting the other quarterback do anything. And then you look at Dragon Centurions. I mean, there was like a 70-yard touchdown immediately followed by a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah. Two very different games. What do you want? I'll start looking at the Centurions Dragons because that was like the most. Like there was a few things I said. The atmosphere was amazing. Those Barcelona fans and Tim made a hell of a noise. They were brilliant. And it's a shame. It is kind of a shame that they're an hour outside of Barcelona, but at the same time, it's kind of like its own little place as well. It's kind of like this is the Dragons' den, and you're going to come in here. It's going to be loud. It's going to be tough. When Weinrich had that ball right at the end on the third and one, fourth and one, or whatever it was, no, probably wouldn't have been. I can't remember what the yardage was, but it was loud. He would have been struggling to hear what was going on. And for like, I think it was like 3,000 people were there. It was a hell of a racket. It was brilliant. As you say, it was an offensive shootout. Both these teams for me are contenders. I know the Centurions just about lost, and the Centurions coach did say that their game plan is to win by 1 point. That's what they care about. They couldn't care less how many points they give away as long as they give away.
They've done that. They've been. I mean, obviously they didn't win this week, but every game they've won by maybe just under 3 points, and they were very close to taking the lead.
Yeah, extremely close. Extremely close. I mean, Quinton Pounds is just a cheat code.
I mean, it's just such a difference from last year when you could just tell how injured he must have been. Like, they had Madre London and Quentin Pounds, and there's a very good chance Quentin Pounds will take the MVP title off the back of Madre.
I think for right now, we've had some amazing like performances so far, but Quentin Pounds is the best player in the league for me at the moment, pound for pound.
Start playing a bit of defense.
Yeah, exactly. That just shows it. That just shows how determined and how good this guy is. He's a monster. Yeah. Weinrich had 433 yards for 4 touchdowns, and all of them went to Quentin Pounds.
I mean, Weinreich and Edwards. I think you could also put Matt Adams in there from the Fire.
Yeah.
And Sean Shelton and Erdman from the Vikings and Raiders. I think you can consider, but Edwards and Weinreich are the two top. Like they just fire it downfield all day. Like you showed. Let's bring up those stats you sent us.
Oh, what these were like the quarterback ratings.
These are the quarterback passing stats of all teams.
Yeah.
So, Jan Weinreich leads in yards per game at 381. He has the most touchdowns at 11 and the most interceptions at 5.
Yeah,
tied with the Kings and Rams. But I think that just shows you how boom or bust he is. But he's going to win you games because he's just going to keep chucking it downfield to Quentin Pounds. Zach Edwards isn't far behind with 9 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Jacob Sullivan for the Galaxy is the highest completion percentage. I think you could definitely see him being back on the Galaxy this week was really good. We'll discuss that.
Yeah.
But Matt Adam for the Fire has got the highest average yards per attempt and the highest rating. So he's a sneak candidate. But yeah, I mean, it's so fun watching the Centurions and Dragons offense because it's literally just hurl it downfield and try and find sweet or pounds.
Exactly. And what I think in the sort of long-term things, one of these teams isn't going to be in the playoffs. I don't think. I think the Fire are going to be one of those 2 teams to go through. And I think it is going to, I think weirdly enough, I think that NFL level top coaching from Tom Sula, we will get onto the fire later on. But for me, these games, the Centurions versus the Dragons, and even Centurions versus Fire and Fire versus Dragons next week, this is what's going to decide who misses out on playoffs, because whoever comes third can't get in.
Yeah.
And that's so harsh because the South is such a good conference.
We completely didn't expect that. We were like, oh, the South is going to be a fight for just getting into first, and it is, but it's so stacked.
If I'm going to be totally honest, I thought the Dragons were probably going to win this with a record going 8-4, 7-5, possibly. But now it looks like you're going to have to win 10.
Yeah.
You're probably going to have to win 10 games to win this conference.
I mean, to give credit to the Centurions, because the Dragons' defense is not easy to get past. And it's Brugnani. That's how you say his second name, the one I couldn't say last.
Yes.
He's a fantastic defensive back, and he was covering Quentin Pounds well, and they were still scoring. Like, he had a heck of a game.
Yeah.
But they still got past him.
But it was him and Mazzero, wasn't it? They double teamed him right at the end when Warwick threw the ball deep, and you saw Pounds. Even in double coverage, you thought, he's going to catch this ball, and this is going to be it. And the Centurions are winning. But Mazzero and Brugani together just managed to stop him, which was brilliant. And then Fernandez with the big stop at the end. And, me and you have been singing his praises since week one. People claiming that he should have been Defensive Rookie of the Year. No, Marcel Dabo won it, and he's now in the NFL. So I think that says quite a lot. Yeah. But Fernandez is
he's tough.
Just this defense
off the edge.
Yeah,
I've not seen a defense where the ends get to swat so many passes so regularly.
Exactly that, and we talk about the Barcelona offense is so exciting, but this defense is going to win them big moments.
Yes,
and we saw that, and that was the difference. That defense being able to make these plays was what won them the game.
I mean, look, they kept Hamburg to 21 points, and they're a pretty. I mean, they got Gene Constant and what's his name?
Glenn. If you just look at Glenn Tunga running,
yeah. And yet, to touch on that game a bit more, complete defensive slugfest. The Kings were sacking Cisse all day. So many turnovers. I think each team had interceptions and fumbles. It's a shame because Jordan Barlow looked good. I think there was one touchdown that was called back, and their receivers looked good, but they just couldn't get, like, they got into the red zone so early, and they just never got back there again because the Hamburg defense was locking them down. But then the Hamburg offense, like, there was a few bigger breaks, which is where, and like towards the end, Tunga was starting to pound in.
Yeah,
that was exhaustion taking over, and like it's such a shame that the Kings are 0-3 now, because all their games are, this one, that's 14-0, but it was close.
Yeah.
They could have won that game had they done a couple of things went their way.
And that is the story. They could have won all of their 3 games so far, but they just haven't. I made a few notes to see Glenn. Obviously, I think he went over 200 yards running again, and that he is going to be so important to this Hamburg team going forward. Justin had a nice interception. I thought I'd mention that to Justin because that was good. It was good to see him taking his helmet off, start screaming at the crowd. That boy loves to get hyped whenever he makes a big play. But the difference maker for me is that the Sea Devils had a running game that they could turn to and use to try and wear down the Kings' defense. The Kings, I think their O-line's a massive issue. They don't have a running game, like, at all, really. Jordan Barlow in the first 2 games, nice and cool. Even under pressure, was kind of thinking, right, I've still picked these good throws. He's now thrown 5 interceptions this season. They were the last 2 drives of last game and 3 this game. So it shows that it's only started recently coming to him. I don't think that O-line is supporting him enough. It's not supporting him. It's causing him to lose his cool, throw a few throws that are just kind of, I need to get this ball away. I need to try and find someone. There's not much thought behind it. And I think the fact the offense is letting them down big time, because look at these defensive numbers. Okay, I know it was a defensive slog, and the Hamburg also did well defensively. But AJ Wentland, 17 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. Tavares, 10 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. Zetterberg, 2.5 sacks and another tackle for loss. Bombeck got a sack, and William James, a safety, got 14 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and a fumble recovery. They're crazy stats. And you should hope that your offense can do enough to go and win that game from doing that. And for me, they still have the best defense in the league purely because of just the monstrosity that they can cause up front. But the offense needs to start doing its part, and I think it just lies in that offensive line.
I mean, that you never see a championship team with a bad offensive line, and that's what you saw with the Dragons last year. They had Gene Constant was Zach Edwards, but they were losing games because their O-line. Yeah, and I think that's what's happening to the Kings are doing the Dragons this year.
They've got players, they've got really good players all over the pitch, but it's just the basics that aren't being done properly, causing the offense to panic and just not play as well as it could. And it's a shame because this team has so much potential.
But I mean, Hamburg are a hard team to place right now on the power rankings. So I want to put them in the top, but they're the bottom of the top, or they're the top of the second tier. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a question mark still over the QB play, isn't there? And I think that's a big question mark.
Cisse has not done enough for me to I don't think Cisse is going to win you a game.
No, we're yet to see any evidence supporting that fact that he can win you a game. And I think that's the only thing. They do rely heavily on Glenn, and I think at the moment that's fine because he's clearly an absolute monster.
They've got, I can't remember his name, the number 16 for the Hamburg, opposite Gene Constant. I think it's called Fortes, Max Fortes or something.
Yeah.
But those two are fantastic receivers. Fortes is such a good returner, so is Gene Constant. But Gene got a really good catch. It was like a classic sprint down the field and literally lays out, gets to his fingertips. But he was also getting overthrown so much. And I'm like, you can't overthrow a receiver of that caliber.
No, exactly. But that's how Hamburg have set their team up this year, where they want to use their imports. And you never know, with the defense that strong and a running game that good, they could be, for me, they're my favourites. I think, fortunately for them, the other teams in their division aren't showing up at the moment. Yeah. So I would expect to see Hamburg in the playoffs. A long way to go, but they should be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's move on to the Sunday games. None of these were as close as the other ones, but I think a lot of them were close until late game. We'll just go over Vikings Surge because it's a shame that it was close. It was within one score, I think, right before halftime. Then Vikings put another point on right at the end. But the Surge kept it fairly close, and then the second half they just got blown out. And the Surge shows signs. They put it so close to the Panthers last week. They nearly beat them.
Yeah.
But then they just got absolutely pummeled by a good team. The Vikings quarterback's fantastic. Their whole team seems very well-rounded.
Yeah. I think this is the hardest game. At the moment, I think to go into Vienna and try and win the Surge have had a rotten start when it comes to who they've played. Because what this has been, they did have the Panthers, who I think a lot of us have overestimated, if we're going to be generous there. But yeah, Dragons, Panthers, Vikings. It's not the easiest. And I don't know, they've got a tough game next as well.
Yeah, and I think people thought they were worse than they were when they got absolutely blown out by the Dragons.
Yes.
But now we're reading the Vikings have pretty much done exactly the same to them. Very similar scores.
Yeah. The Surge are improving each week, I think. I do. I think they're getting better and better.
I was watching the Surge game, they're not a bad team.
No, not at all. Randy Schroeder's a decent quarterback. I like his deep throw, and I think it's really nice. But it's they make a lot of mistakes, and there's silly penalties, which I think really does hinder them. If you're under the cosh anyway, just try cut those out and try play disciplined football, and you stand.
They're playing the Raiders next week, and I think that's a game similar to the Panthers that they can win that one.
They for sure they could definitely go and win that one if they play at their best.
Then they get the Kings, then they get the Galaxy. So they're going against the middle tier teams now, not top tier.
This will be when they show what exactly they're made of.
Yeah.
A few players I want to shout out in this game. Staying on the Surge, their linebacker Mbala. I noticed him. He's a big tackler, big boy. Number 44. He had 8 tackles, a tackle for loss, and an interception. So he had a decent game. With the Vikings, Florian Vegan,
Vegan, yes.
Beast. But there's another vegan running back. I don't know if they're brothers or they're related. I haven't actually looked into that. So I had to work out which one was which, but Florian, number 13, I think he is. He's just, he had to have like 3 players to tackle him on one of his runs.
Yeah, he was just a bowling ball.
Yeah. So yeah, he looks like a decent player. And as you say, the Vikings just look solid.
They're a nice round team.
Yeah, although Erdmann, he has been impressive, but few awkward.
Yeah, there's sometimes you're like, ooh.
Yeah, it can just sometimes be a little bit erratic, but he'll
every quarterback's had that.
Yeah, he'll smooth out those edges as the season goes.
They look, obviously I know they look professional because they had literally ripped off the Vikings, but they're a good looking. They look like a professional team. Like they look like they've been playing for 20, 30 years, which they have.
Yeah, they have, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, that's just a game to really brief over. Panthers Galaxy. We pretty much discussed that as much as we need, but Panthers down Justice Hansen and William Lloyd. They get pretty much pummeled 47-13, but Galaxy had Sullivan back, who had a good game. Like he looked so much better than the first week. It just seemed like all the star players for the Galaxy were starting to kind of rise to their level of kind of what their talent levels are.
Yeah,
and it was a pretty classic Galaxy performance.
Yeah, it was. I noticed that they tried to spread the ball out a bit more. They had 9 different receivers, the Galaxy, this game. So they're just spreading it out, making the Panthers think. The Panthers defense looked poor without William Lloyd. I will admit, we mentioned how big an influence he is there. And I just think the Galaxy just completely had their way with him. The Panthers QB who stepped in, the Polish mate, he actually did all right.
Yeah,
I don't think he was too bad at all. He's a perfectly decent backup, but I don't know, Justice Hansen's
defense.
Yeah.
Panthers wide receiver Stanley, brilliant player.
So good.
He's making the plays. Like he was just taking a slant and taking it for 25 yards each time.
Yeah, he's a big yard after catch kind of guy, and he is fun to watch. We'll see what happens with Justice Hansen. I haven't heard too much.
They need him back.
The two teams, like you wouldn't watching that, you wouldn't have thought the Galaxy were 0-2 and the Panthers were 2-0. You would have thought it was the other way around. But we'll give the Panthers the benefit of the doubt on this one.
Yeah,
two big players, and the Galaxy had a lot to prove. So we'll see what happens to them both next week.
Istanbul Rams against the Rhein Fire. I think Istanbul were they late because they definitely had a late plane. We saw on Tyrese's.
Yeah, late. Yeah, the coach hadn't come in time.
Up or something, yeah.
It was about 3 hours before kickoff hadn't been picked up. But I think it was just, the teams can choose to travel on the day or go before. I know it's difficult. We don't know what funding's like.
If it's going to be the European League, it's going to be something they need to get better at.
Exactly. It's all learning curves. Istanbul have chosen to play their first. They've had to play their first 3 games away because their stadium isn't ready yet. The first home game is next week, I believe. So we'll see what goes on there. But
again, similarly to the Surge game, the Rams kept it close initially, like they did last week as well. They keep it close for maybe a quarter and a half. Then right at the end of the second quarter, that's when they start to break, and it's like they just can't keep up because the Fire's offense was struggling against the Rams defense initially. They were making good stops against them, but then as time wore on, the Fire just eventually stopped getting stops and just kept to the run game, just kept getting straight through the Rams. And the Rams offense did the same thing. It starts out quite strong, like they can make some big plays, but they just, by the end of the game, they're not making any.
The Rams have scored first in every game they've played this season, and yet they just always end up falling apart. It is a tough, it is fairly tough. The Rams did release a lot of players midweek, including 3 of the British guys, including Chad Wolverine, which was a bit of a surprise because I thought he'd be one of their better players. Positives kind of almost away from the game is that the stadium looked great. I think it's Duisburg Stadium, which I think if my football knowledge is correct, they're like a second tier. They kind of like go between the first and second tier of German football. So it's a big old stadium. The Fire, their deep ball game. Matt Adam, that's his speciality.
Yeah,
throwing it deep.
He's always down there.
Robitaille, Knudtel, they always seem to make these deep, straight runs, which is nice to see. And Matt Adam throws it very, very accurately, which is nice. As I say, he's surprising a lot of us. We didn't really know what we were going to get with him, but as we saw, he's got the best passer rating so far this season.
Yeah, but and as he said, most yards per attempt as well. Like averaging over 10 yards an attempt shows you they're just happy to keep lobbing the ball over the top.
Yeah, for sure. And as we say, the Fire, they're a smart team. They don't make many mistakes, and they keep.
That's the thing. Like, I think they're a talented team. I think one of a very similar to Kings. The big problem for the Rams is their O-line is not staying. It's not keeping them in the games. And the classic sign of when the O-line gets too tired too quick is everything starts falling apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Fire are so well coached. Like, they seem very surgically efficient because every other team is not the same level. Whereas in the NFL, you just don't see the difference in coaching affect as many games. Like, sometimes you will see Bill Belichick absolutely outclass another team, which is just a thing you can do.
We love to see it.
Yeah, but across NFL in general, you won't see too many games where there's an obvious difference in coach. It feels like there is in this that Tom Sula, it's just whether we obviously, and his NFL coaching career, there's a lot of ambiguity about that. Just being at that level is bringing you in the top of the ELF.
For sure. And I think another note as well I want to make when it comes to the Rams, Jared Stegman, there was a lot of questions around him, but he did have his best game so far for the Rams. I thought he did look a lot more sort of competent, and that he shows that he has got some of the talent to be able to compete at this level, because I think things were getting really sticky for him and there was a lot of question marks about his future. So good for him that he's had a bit of a better game. And I want to shout out the Fire kicker, Schumacher, 48-yard field goal.
Big one, that I saw.
Big old kick. That's what we love to see, that quality in the ELF. But yeah, I think everyone had the Fire winning this game, and I think everyone was proven right. The Rams, it's iffy. I don't know. I think they've got some great players. Tyrese showing again that he does have the quality. It's just, it's
week. Playing the Vikings next week.
Yeah, the poor Rams, they can't catch a break.
And then oh my God, they have the Dragons after that.
Yeah.
Then they have Hamburg.
Yeah.
Then they have their bye.
At least they go.
They've got the Dragons again. Oh my God. Then they've got Hamburg again.
Oh my God.
Then they have the Fire again. Then they get the Vikings again. Then they've got their division games, and they're three out. They play their division games, like all of them at once, basically.
But the three teams that they've got not from their conference are the Vikings, Hamburg, and who was the other?
The Dragons.
No, they're in the south, aren't they?
I thought these guys were all in the south.
Yeah. No, the Vikings are central, Hamburg are north, and there was one other team you said in there that because you play your three conference teams, and then you play three from outside.
The only teams that said there were the Dragons, the Vikings, the Vikings, and the Hamburg Sea Devils. It's only in week 12 that they get. Sorry, week 13 they get to play the Thunder.
Well, it'll be the Thunder because they played the Thunder.
Yeah.
Last time they played the Thunder last week. That'll be it.
The Rams are just in a tough division, man. That is
yeah. It is a really tough spot for them, but let's just hope they hang in there and keep it competitive.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. Like, I don't want a team to give up at any point. Like, they need to stay competitive because the league, whilst it's doing well, it is still new and it needs every team to be putting that effort in. Yeah. And I don't think any coach is a quitter. I don't think you can be in that position.
Definitely not.
And then finally, a good game. Raiders against the Thunder, 28-16. It was close. Raiders took the lead a bit better in the end. Sean Shelton looked really good. He actually I just looked and he replied to and I gave him a nice message saying he shouldn't be running at that age. And it's like, sometimes you've just got to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like Sean had a great game. I think the Raiders are started maybe a bit lost their footing, and now they've kind of got actually no, we are a good team because they put together a good performance against the Thunder, who I think have got some stuff there.
I agree. Yeah, I think this game was closer than the 28-16 says. I think the Raiders, we are starting to see what we expected. They're like quite an efficient team on offense, which is good. Sean is, he is brilliant. His arm is good, but you're right. His running, sometimes he got clattered on one of those runs, which was quite funny to see. Their defense stepped up. Finally, their defense sort of let them down the first two games, but they were much better. The Thunder, I really like Joe Germanaria, not just because of his first name, but he does remind me a lot, kind of like Zach. He's got a big arm. He's happy to run it. He's almost like he likes to get hit as well. He's like kind of one of those guys that's just a bit rough. His stat line didn't look great with 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, but he's one of those that can extend the play, and he's happy to take command and make that run sort of if he sees a little gap. I thought the Thunder defense did really well stopping the Raiders. The Raiders playing how they usually like to. As you mentioned, Sean had to run quite a bit more because those options to pass weren't quite there. So I think the Thunder, they had a really poor week one against the Sea Devils, but they got the win last week. They just missed out this week. I still think the Thunder are a decent team.
Yeah,
and they've got the room. Jock Crawford had a decent game. I think he got 80-90 yards on the ground. So yeah, I wouldn't work the Thunder off at all. They're still there or thereabouts.
Yeah, I feel like I think this is the first good game the Raiders had where you're like, that's what they want to be.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's get into some power rankings. We've done all the games there.
Yep.
We'll quickly rattle off what we had last week. We'll go from 12th to 1st. We had the Rams, Surge, Thunder, Galaxy, Kings, Raiders, Centurions, Panthers, Fire, Hamburg, Dragons, Vikings. A couple of changes at most levels, but I think the bottom stays the same.
Yeah, what, the bottom two?
Yeah, so we've got the Rams at the bottom. They just need to win a game before they can consider getting out of that. And then the Surge are better than the Rams, but they're losing games badly in the second half.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I still feel as if the Surge were to play the Rams, I would back the Surge.
Yeah. This is where it gets tricky because the Thunder could still definitely stay here.
Yeah,
but I think the Kings could go for it.
I've put the Kings 10th. I think being shut out.
Yeah, the Thunder haven't been shut out yet.
Yeah, I think being shut out is a tough one.
Saying that, when they played Hamburg, they got blown out, but they still scored. The Kings couldn't score.
Yeah, and that's for me. That's it. It's just not being able to score enough points.
Well, we're putting the Kings 10th, right? And then we'll put the Thunder just above them.
Yep.
Thunder going up a step. Hey-oh. Right. So I think the next level has got to be between Galaxy, Panthers, Raiders.
Yes, I've got those three. I see the Panthers. I still haven't been impressed by them, but they are 2-1, and they were missing two of their best players last game. But for the Galaxy, we said how they had been injured, and we put them down for that. So I had Galaxy 8th, Raiders 7th, Panthers 6th, but I think the Panthers and Raiders could swap.
I think if we judge the Galaxy for being injured without Sullivan and put them, we put them like 9th last time.
Yeah.
From what we know, the Panthers don't have their offensive leader and their defensive leader right now. So if we're putting injuries into place, I'd put them here. If we were putting them with both those guys on the field, I agree, and we'll put them top of these three.
Yeah. They are still 2-1. They have a better record than the other two. I know that's not really something that we've lived and died by.
If we judge the Galaxy on their injury, we have to judge the Panthers with their injuries.
We do.
So we'll put Panthers.
Well, the Galaxy smashed the Panthers. Well, I think we also have to remember that.
We'll put the Panthers with a star because it's a disclaimer. And then are we putting the Raiders I put the Raiders over the Galaxy.
I agree.
Okay.
Imagine have a winning record and being 8th in the power rankings. But that's how it is because I think those teams beat them.
Injury, yeah. Okay.
Top 5 now.
Yes. And I think this is either Centurions or Hamburg.
I've got Centurions.
Honestly, in a game, Centurions, Hamburg.
Who would win out of those two?
Because I feel like the fun thing about the Centurions is no matter who the other team is, they'll play them close.
Yeah, it will be 2 or 3 points either way.
Yeah,
that would be with the Rams, or it was with the Rams.
Yeah,
or it could be with the Vikings.
And Dragons. They basically hit all 3 teams.
Yeah, but they did lose this week, and they would still be going up.
The team that is fighting for place 1, though.
Are they a team that's fighting for number 1?
The Dragons are.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm saying they only just lost to a team that's going for number 1. The thing is, like, if you said the Centurions in the top 3, I wouldn't be like, that doesn't make sense. But if you put them in 5th, I'd be like, yeah, that also makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
How to put the Cologne or Hamburg? Oh,
this is a really tough one.
I trust Weinreich to win me a game. I don't trust Cisse to win me a game.
But I trust the Hamburg defense to do one.
Yeah.
I think the Hamburg defense could do decent against Cologne.
Quentin Pounds, though, man.
Oh, shit. I forgot about him. So we had Hamburg. This is the way I'm thinking of it, yeah? We had Hamburg 3rd, and we had Centurions 6th.
Yeah.
Hamburg have won a game and they're going down 1.
Yeah, they can't be down 2.
Yeah, Centurions have lost a game and they're going up 1. So I don't think we can do 2. I think that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, that makes sense in my eyes.
And I think that's why I made that decision, because even I wanted Centurions up there.
So Centurions 5th, Hamburg 4th, and then it's between the Fire, the Vikings, and the Dragons. How would you do? What's your order 1st to 3rd?
Vikings, Dragons, Fire. I think the Dragons could on their day, but I just think the Vikings are just so well
rounded. Fire being 3rd is correct.
Yes, I agree.
But I again, if you put them at the top, I wouldn't be. I'd argue, but I wouldn't lose respect for you.
I think
Dragons or Vikings.
The Vikings. I think the Vikings and the Dragons are joint.
Yeah, they're so similar.
They're joint for me, but we have the Vikings. We had the Vikings 1st and Dragons 2nd. Like, when you're trying to overturn a call, I don't see enough evidence to overturn that call.
Ah, shit! Fuck you.
And that is why. That is the only reason why. The Dragons got a really impressive win, but the Vikings did also win by 30 points. And the Vikings are number 1.
The Vikings beat the Surge in exactly the same way the Dragons did. Who did they play last week again?
Who, the Vikings?
Vikings play the
Galaxy.
And they pretty handily, it was like 30-10. Dragons played Hamburg and beat them 24-21.
The Vikings are currently the number 1 seed when it comes to playoffs.
Is that just like score differential or something?
And also technically, the Dragons are 2nd in their division. The Fire are top.
It's because they play divisional games, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the points differential. Like the Dragons, we've got to remember the Dragons have just played Cologne and Hamburg.
Who do the Dragons and Vikings play next week?
Dragons are up against the Fire. It's a massive game.
Yeah, and the Vikings only play the Rams. God, the Dragons have had a trial by fire and they're doing it.
Yeah.
Ironically, they are now playing in the Fire.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then they get the Rams next week. So they've got one. This game is going to be huge, man. Sunday. I'm in the house as well. Yes.
I'm on holiday, and I might just sit there by the side of the pool.
With
ELF. Oh, fire! Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a belter of a game. Yeah, I stand by your. There's no evidence to overturn.
And that is the for me that is the only we decided last week that we had them, and therefore, yeah, those three are the top three.
Yeah, I think you can now break them into 4 tiers, which is pretty much first to third. It's kind of first to third. It's first to third, fourth and fifth.
Yep.
6th to 8th, and then 9th to 12th.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Or I would even say 9th and 10th, and then 11th and 12th.
Yeah, maybe. But so here's the rankings. Rams bottom at 12, Surge at 11, Kings at 10th, Thunder at 9th, took a step up. Panthers with injuries are 8th, Galaxy are 7th, Raiders are 6th, Centurions are 5th, Hamburg are 4th, the Fire are 3rd, Dragons are 2nd, Vikings are 1st. I like how Vikings, Dragons, and Fire are all mythologically connected. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the most I've agreed with our list.
Yeah, I'm very confident in this list.
And so the biggest movers there, the Panthers dropped from 5th to 9th.
Did they?
They were 5th there, and they've gone to 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, sorry.
8th, I was about to say, oh my God.
Galaxy took a nice step up. Kings took a step down. Centurions went up 1 spot.
Which isn't bad for when you lose.
Hamburg went down 1 just because they're not the top 3.
Yeah, that is it. I think the team with I think the unbeaten 3 have to be the top 3.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but let us know. I mean, yeah, they're one of those we'll lose next week, which is fun. But let us know what you think about our power rankings. Joe will get them up later on in the week, and we have the arrows up there so you can see it a bit better. But I think that's a good rankings.
Yes.
Anything else about the ELF before we get off, Joe?
Don't believe so. It's been a fun week, and the next slate of games isn't going to change that. Look out for them. We've got Galaxy at Cologne, Hamburg at the Panthers, Kings at Thunder, which is going to be a close game, and then obviously Dragons Fire is probably the main event of the weekend. Raiders Surge will be good though. Yeah, they are all brilliant games. I think the week just gone there was a few mismatches. If I'm totally honest, apart from Cologne Barcelona, I wasn't too stoked for many of the games. But this week 4, hell of a matchup all around. What I enjoy though is even if there's not a matchup that I'm like actively excited about, if I stick it on, I'll still like the game. Exactly that, and that's what's so good about this league. Yeah, and that's just I think we've all started rooting for certain teams. Yeah, and I'm an Out Dragons fan. But yeah, it's looking like a good couple of games. What was I about to say then? I forgot. It doesn't matter. Make sure you're going on First Down Fantasy Football. More and more people are doing it each week. It is fun. Joe you got 8th place last week, was it? Yeah, 8th place. Yeah, I was pretty proud of that. And with those points, I would have won on week 1, but also would have 7 other people. So it doesn't really mean much. But results aren't out yet, but I think I might have done all right. I remember what I was going to say. We are getting Shontavious Jones on for an interview in the coming weeks, so keep an eye out for that. I think we've all been wanting to speak to him, so that's really exciting. Make sure you're following us on our social medias. Craig's getting his internet back soon, so he'll be helping us out more on that as well. And he'll obviously be coming back on the pod, as will Tim when he's back from holiday. Joe goes on holiday very shortly, tomorrow from recording. In fact, when this is out, I'll be there. I'm in Malta, mate. I will do. Looking forward to the sun. Yeah, mate. You're gonna cook. Am I gonna cook? You're gonna bake. You're gonna be so hot. I'm gonna be red as anything, but It is what it is.
Come back looking like an Arsenal fan.
God, I hope not.
But if you're not already following us on YouTube or not watching us on YouTube, we are on there. Obviously, just search That American Football Show. If you're listening on there, please give us a like and a subscribe. It really helps us out and gets more views for the ELF in general. And leave comments. People are leaving us nice comments, asking us questions. We do try and get back to everyone. So if you've got any questions, just let us know. If you've got any players you want us to interview, let us know. We have our ways of getting in touch with everyone. But yeah, anything else before we get off, Joe?
No, except I can see the trash talk between the Sea Devils and the Panthers is already starting. Justin Rogers has shared a mug that says Panthers Tears on it with the Hamburg Sea Devils logo. So that's interesting because I know those two don't really like each other. Be good fun to watch.
Carlos is with the Galaxy, didn't he? I was about to say, yeah. He's an ex-Panthers player. But thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you head over and check out our friends at EP Sports for any of your NFL or equipment needs, and we will see you next week.